Mobsters, what up? This is Tracy K. Wood with the Property Mob, the makers of Badass Investors. And we have a question from Jason. Jason is in Chicago, Illinois, and he has actually a couple of questions that I want to answer for him. So he says, Jason here. Hey, Jason. I'm a newbie to wholesaling, and I have two questions. Number one, do I have to have my own earnest money deposit, and how much? I'll answer that first, Jason. If you plan on putting properties under contract, you probably want to have somewhat of a budget for earnest money deposits. In the state of Florida, there is $0 required on a contract, and that's why I love this state so much, because I can lock something up for as long as I want with the seller, and no earnest money deposit is required by me ever. Now, sometimes the sellers want some, and when they say, "What about a binder deposit?" I'm like, "How about $1? Will that work?" And sometimes they agree to that. Oddly enough, so they sometimes think that $1 has to exchange hands to make it enforceable. Things like that. Check the rules and the laws with your state, Illinois, and find out if there's a minimum binder deposit required on contracts. And if so, have a little bit ready. If you have 2 or 3 properties under contract and they all have earnest money deposits, it's just a matter of time before you close on one of them, and then you have a bunch of earnest money deposits. So if you're dealing with REOs, foreclosures, bank owns, you need earnest money deposits. They require $500 to $1,000 to put the property under contract, and it's kind of hard to get around that. So if you're working on REOs, then yes, you do need $500 to $1,000 for each contract that you plan on entering into. If you're low on money and you have a tight budget, go to private sellers. They're my favorite anyway. You get better deals from them, and the competition is less stiff. So, do some marketing and generate some motivated seller leads, and hopefully your requirement in Illinois is 0 like it is in Florida. His next question is, do I have to have my own closing cost, and how much? Closing costs are just written into the contract. So if you write a contract with the seller and you agree as the buyer to pay all the closing costs, then essentially you're going to pass that on to your buyer when you assign the contract. As long as we're talking about wholesaling here, then you never have to come up with a closing cost out of your pocket, unless you actually close on the deal, with your own money, and then you plan on selling it later. But if you're just flipping the contract and you're doing an assignment fee, then no closing cost ever come out of your pocket. Okay? And this question is one it's cool because I don't get this question very often, but it's a good question. Would I need an affidavit to protect myself from a buyer or seller trying to cross me out of the deal? Ooh, that's a good one. Okay, in 15 years since I've been doing this, I've had to record about 5 affidavit and memorandum agreements. And, when you've been doing it, it doesn't even, you can smell a snake, okay? So if you get a buyer, he starts acting funny, maybe talking about not closing when he was very excited about closing in the beginning, starts to smell a little snaky, you might want to record your affidavit. If the seller mentions that the buyer contacted them directly, you might want to record your affidavit. It's a matter of taking it to a notary, signing it in front of them, and taking it downtown to be recorded. And that puts a cloud on the title. Seller can't sell it, buyer can't buy it without answering to you first. Isn't that cool? I love that. So some people, I've heard that some people actually record an affidavit and memorandum with every single transaction they do. I don't think that's necessary. Most of the time you're going to be dealing with honest people who just want to do business, and they're not going to try to go around you and cut you out of the deal. But there are occasions when you're going to get some dumbass who thinks he can go directly to the seller and get it for $5,000 less than what you're trying to sell it to him for, and that's when you got to lay the hammer down, okay? That's when you have to go down and record your affidavit and, protect yourself. It's just protecting yourself and your interest in the property. So I'm going to put a copy of the affidavit and memorandum agreement on the website at propertymob.com. Right underneath this video, you can download it. It's very simple to fill out. You just, fill in the blanks. Make sure you sign it in front of a notary because it is required to be notarized before you can record it. And then hightail it to the courthouse and record that thing. It's, inexpensive to record as well, and it does protect you in the long run if you think somebody's trying to, go around you, and that sucks. And then you blacklist them and you never do business with them again if it's the buyer. Okay, that's what I do. I would never do business with anybody who's trying to snake a deal out from under me. That's a no-no in the wholesaler land. So, if you're watching this video on YouTube, I will put the link to the affidavit blog post in the description box, so you can go directly there and get that as well. So download it and keep it in your toolbox and use it if you have to. All right, guys, I'm checking out for now. This is Tracy Kaywood with Property Mob, the makers of Badass Investors. If you have any questions, you can use the Ask a Question link on the website. I will hook you up with an answer. Okay? Check you later. Bye.